All right, and we're live. Welcome back, folks. It's Rod with Pow Group, and in today's video, we're going to discuss what happened with the Apple and the Tesla stock split. We had a pretty crazy end to the day today. Today is Monday, August 31st, and I just wanted to highlight a couple of news articles here. So for those of you that haven't been exposed to our community, we do have news feeds and for crypto, for the stock market, so you'll never have to check another website, a news website for stock updates again. We pull it automatically through the feed, through the channel, so you'll be updated on any market moving news. And just as an example here, we can see that Tesla jumped 13% and the stock split takes effect and Apple gains 4%. So I'll take a look at those in just a second, but we started to dump pretty heavily into the end of the day. And I want to bring up first SPY because of the monthly candle. So today was the close of the monthly candle. You can see we formed a little bit of an upper wick, and it's a little bit worrisome at this point because we could be seeing a potential pullback. We're well outside of the monthly Bollinger Bands. Like I said in some previous videos, check out my market bubble video if you want to see what my prediction was before. Last week, it was on Friday that I posted that. So basically I expected us to start pulling back and end the month a little bit shaky, and that's basically what we did. I expected that Tesla and Apple would see a lot of buying pressure today. As soon as I woke up this morning and I looked at the news feeds, I didn't see anything like market moving that would potentially come up overnight that could affect the market. So I knew all systems were go this morning, and a lot of people salivating at the mouth, right? Just looking to get these cheap shares, but nothing has really changed fundamentally with these companies. It's just, it's just mathematics. So I don't see the need to be buying here right now. Again, I highlighted it before, but look what happened when Apple split in 2000. They basically ran it up 50% and then they dropped it 80% from there. So you have to be careful here, and you have to know what you're buying and what you're getting into. And we just closed the month. We started to pull back. Could this be a bigger pullback into September, which is historically bad for stocks? Who knows? But taking a look at the weekly, it's not a good start to the week. We can see that we're forming a bearish candle here on the weekly. We had a huge fake out to the end of the day. We just barely got outside of the Bollinger Bands here toward the end of the day. I'll zoom into the 5-minute. You can see that on SPY, that was quite the waterfall. And again, I reiterate this time after time after time that we see these slow grinds up, flush, slow grinds up, mini flush, and then slow grinds up. For the whole day we were forming, so when we opened the day on SPY, we were forming a 5-minute pattern here, inverse head and shoulders, which would look like this. And generally those patterns break to the upside, and we did. Just took a little bit longer to get there. So you can see here we basically triple topped, and it was a fake out before the breakout. We popped outside of the Bollinger Bands and we closed the day with quite a fake out. So again, you got to be careful whenever we see these slow grinds up. Don't forget to take profit along the way, especially if you're day trading, and just be mindful that these flushes can come at any point. I mean, we saw that it took such a long time for this pattern to play out, this inverse head and shoulders. We saw a fake out before the breakout, probably stopped a lot of shorts, or stopped a lot of people who were in anticipation that that was going to break to the upside. And then we got the real move, basically tested the high of pre-market. We didn't quite get there, but then we saw a nasty close. And again, we saw some rotation, but we saw this for the most part across the board, right? So all the sectors were not spared. So today we saw some rotation into QQQ, obviously, with Apple and Tesla running 13% and 4% respectively. We saw some rotation into XLV, but it also ended the day and the month not that, I mean, strong overall, obviously. We're at all-time highs, but again, we're starting to see some red flags here with the speed of these moves to the downside, and it's just getting a little bit worrisome. And if we take a look back at the monthly chart, I wanted to highlight one thing, that we're in this bit of a channel here now, and we're testing this channel on the RSI. So we're starting to see some potential RSI bear divergence here. We're testing that line, so we'll have to track this channel as it develops, but we're well outside of the monthly Bollinger Bands. If we go back to again, just to reiterate on the .com era. So if we look at 2001, that's when we started to sell off, and look at the RSI back in 97, 96. So we started to trend down. We saw bearish RSI divergence, but we didn't, and we had a mini dip there, kind of like we just did in 2020 COVID crisis. But then it took about 3 years for this, or 4 years for this to play out and to see some significant downtrend here on the monthly. So we've been in a monthly uptrend on SPY now for well over 10 years, a decade. And we crashed in 2000, we crashed in 2008. Generally, you know, it's not, history doesn't repeat itself always, but we have to be mindful that we were in a monthly uptrend there for quite a while, for almost 10 years. And then we went in a monthly downtrend again. And then we went in a monthly uptrend for 11, 12 years. I mean, it's time, it's likely due for a pullback. Taking a look at SPY as well on the weekly time frame. I'll just bring up stock charts here for you folks. So you can see that the weekly, we're starting to curl on the stochastic, and we could potentially be setting a top here. Again, I'm not trying to call a top, but we have to be mindful that this thing could reverse at any time. We don't have any support on the moving averages down here. We've got a higher low every day for the last, I think, week on SPY. So don't be surprised if we start the month off a little shaky. And like I said, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles now, basically with a higher low. We'll have to wait and see how everything plays out tomorrow. But taking a look at Apple, I mean, daily RSI is running extremely hot. Taking a look at the weekly, RSI is at historical levels where we usually pull back from. I mean, we're getting right now on the weekly time frame, we're sitting at RSI of 85. So just keep in mind, if you are buying here, I would strongly encourage you to know what you're doing and know that all investments have risk. This isn't financial advice. This isn't a sell signal. This isn't a buy signal. I personally, my own strategy would be to do quick flips in and out. I wouldn't be holding anything overnight. I mean, take a look at that monthly, that's absolutely absurd, right? We're at 83 RSI on the monthly. Could this go higher? Absolutely. Could we hit 90 on the monthly RSI? Yeah, absolutely. When we get in blue sky breakouts, there's no telling where these things can go. But like, I would feel completely different about this move if Apple would have formed a monthly higher low at some point on this move. I would have felt a lot better if SPY from these lows would have potentially formed a monthly higher low and then a higher high, and we would have a little bit more of a confirmation that this was a healthy rally, right? And you can see we're starting to form a little bit of a megaphone pattern here on the monthly, and look exactly where we topped out, right? So just again, this isn't a sell signal. This could continue to go. I could see potentially Tesla or Apple running another 5, 10, 20%. Who knows? But at this rate, we could potentially be in for some fireworks coming down the road. And I'm personally, I've got a short position. I'm in and out for some quick flips, but I mean, I traded, I saw SPY today forming the 5-minute inverse head and shoulders. So I covered my short, I covered my short at the beginning of the day, re-entered down here on the head. And then as I knew that we were slow grind up all day, and we've been seeing these flushes, and I've noticed this pattern again and again, and I'll continue to do that until it doesn't work anymore. And I reloaded cheaper. That's all I'm looking to do, is just reload cheaper and accumulate this short position. Covered up here when we were at the Bollinger Bands. It's been working perfectly every time. We see these V-shaped bounces, V-shape after V-shape, and until it doesn't work, I'm gonna keep using it to my advantage. So have yourselves a great night, everybody. We will see you again on the next update.